Hello everybody and welcome to this short tutorial that shows you what is new in CaptureOne 8. CaptureOne 8 was just released a few days ago and it was kind of a very good improvement of CaptureOne 7. It was already a great software, now is even better. CaptureOne, as usual, works with session or catalogs. There's nothing really new in this, but now it's more easy to import the catalogs from Lightroom to CaptureOne. So if you are used to Lightroom, you can really switch to CaptureOne in a very easy way. What's new? Basically, a lot of things under the hood. They improved a lot of algorithms and code to make CaptureOne faster and better as quality, and other things that are new tools that we will go to see. Something that is changed, you can see at first sight, something that is changed is a little bit the interface. All the tools remain with the same concept, and you can personalize your interface and everything, but little changes like this slider now are bigger and make very easy to click on the right spot and move faster around. This is an improvement that really save you some time. But we can go to what is new as tools. So if you go in the capture session, here there's something new that I didn't test it, but I know it's new and is there, and is that you can have the live view with a lot of cameras. So if you shoot tethered, so if you connect your camera to the computer to take the pictures with the cable or the Wi-Fi, you can have a live view straight in CaptureOne of what your camera is seeing. This is something that I will test in the next days, but I wanted to tell you that this is new, and if you are interested in this, that can be really, if you do a lot of shooting, tethered shooting, that this can be really a good improvement. So going to the different tabs used to regulate and elaborate the image, first of all we can go to the color tab, and here we can see one of the first news. The first one here we see engine is CaptureOne 8. If you have session or catalogs and images that were elaborated with CaptureOne 7, you will see something here that tell you to upgrade to the CaptureOne 8 engine. But something that is very interesting here, and on the curves used to convert the raw file, now we have the auto tab. This is really great for me. I don't like to spend a lot of time elaborating images, so when I shoot for clients, usually I take a lot of pictures sometime, and I want to show the pictures to the client without a lot of time spent on them, because I want to use my time to eventually elaborate and get better the images that they choose. With CaptureOne, basically everything comes out from the camera and is already straight. This image that I took just to have a memory of the paintings, the details of the paintings in the ceiling, I took it in a church where was prohibited to take pictures, so I had to put the camera, everything in automatic, was automatic exposure, automatic white balance, put the camera on the floor and just took the picture. And here you can see that the image already came out with a perfect white balance. The exposure is quite good and the details inside are perfect. You see how smooth is the passage from the dark area to the highlights, and you see how smooth are the tonalities of the colors and everything else. With this auto regulation, the program selects automatically the curve that best fit your image and your camera. So this is really a nice improvement if, like me, you like to have a lot of the pictures straight out of the camera, and you want to spend your time to improve the pictures instead to regulate the white balance and tonality and contrast and exposure and everything else that usually you have to correct to have a decent image for selection. And this is one thing. The other things that we have in this tool is the black and white. The black and white tool was already in CaptureOne 7, but here it became better. If you go with the black and white now, if you like to push a little much more, your regulation it stays better. The results are much smoother and you don't have a lot of cropping tonality and all these kind of things. So black and white is really improved. Then we can go to the exposure tab, and here we have other news that are under the hood, because the high dynamic range really improved. With the high dynamic range now we can regulate it pretty strong, and we can see that the medium tonality don't change much, so it's really easier to use right now, and the result is much better. And especially if you have images like this that was, you know, just kind of postcard of the moment of sunset, and this area came out pretty underexposed, you can really push it out and you can just take a look at the details, and you see that even the more dark area of the image come out really good without problems and without too much noise and this kind of problems. So high dynamic range really improved. And another things that we will see next, but I can anticipate now, high dynamic range is another tool that now can also be used on the local corrections. We said we have that. Let's put this image a little bit with recover the highlights, and we can see now that we have the clarity that is changed. The clarity now has this natural setting that it does exactly what the names say. It is natural. So also if we push a lot, the look still, the feeling is pretty natural. If we can switch to punch or the other before, you can see it's clipping the highlight and is really harsh in some way. I leave natural, and natural just increase this mid-tone contrast without influencing too much highlight and dark, and come out really well. Especially this is good on the portraits, because usually you cannot use clarity on portraits because that harsh look that usually give 20 years more to the model. Now with the natural, also if you go a little further with the clarity, you don't have really that bad effect that you have with the other settings. So this is really a good new, let's call it new tool. Then going on, we have the lens correction remain the same. So if you have a lens that is recognized, you have the automatic setting of the lens, as if in case of my 17mm Canon tilt and shift is not recognized, you can regulate everything manually. And the other things that is good, we have the purple fringing now that is a tool apart, and this is very useful because this tool can be used in local adjustments. The crop is the same. Details now we have better tools because the noise reduction is improved, so it's better than before. And we have this new tool that is the fine grain, the film grain. If I want to see the film grain, for example, I can use this image in black and white, and let's go back to the details. If I insert the grain, let's put it pretty high because I want to show it in the video, but if I put the zoom in here, you can see there's a little grain that came, very fine grain that comes out, and is very natural and is very film looking. It's really good. You can choose if you want the fine grain. Silver rich is much more evident, and you can go on. Harsh grain is really harsh, but basically this tool really emulate perfectly the grain that you were used to have on your film. So if you keep the fine grain, is something that is very similar to what was 50 ISO film, and you can go on with the harsh grain that seems 3200 ISO pushed black and white film. The grain, I don't like it so much normal in the pictures. I like the digital because it has no grain, but sometimes if you, for example, shoot at night and you have the noise and you go black and white, you have a little bit noise that comes out of the sensor if you really push the ISO, or these things that really take out the perfection to the image from the image. You can use the film grain to let's say cover these problems and have a very beautiful picture that is really similar to the film. And that's what is new in the details. But the great thing and the really new tools are here in the local adjustment. As we say, the local adjustment, first of all, they have now are really they give the option to do the white balance as a local adjustment, the high dynamic range as a local adjustment. So here I have regulated this image with the HDR tool as a global image, but if I revert this image back, here I see that I can go and adjust the HDR only on the sky, because the water here is already quite perfect. So I can make a new layer adjustment. I don't put the name just because I'm in a tutorial, but usually put a name that is meaningful if I open the image later. I can draw a mask down here, so I see that I go to work only on the sky, and here I can push the high dynamic range as much as I want. In this case, I have only changed the area in the sky, and all the original contrast and the original things here on the reflection and on the water remain exactly the same. In the same way, I can do another layer, add a mask that works only on the water, and I can come here and I can, for example, put some more light in the water if I want, and I didn't touch the contrast there are in this area of the images. I didn't work on this dark area that can be influenced when I use the global correction of the HDR. In this case, I only worked on the water. So this is really a good option to have this tool only for this particular reason, to use locally the tool. Here another things that we have. If I take a look at this image and zoom a little bit in, the first things that I see is how much is sharp and beautiful the colors. So you see the result of this CaptureOne conversion. Really, it's impressive, and this is made with the 17 tilt and shift on a Canon 1DS Mark III. But I use this image to show you how you can, for example, remove this little antenna. Before with CaptureOne was almost impossible, because it had only a way to correct the spot and the dust on the sensor. Right now with these layers you can go and you can, for example, put a new clone layers. The clone layers works like a clone stamp tool. You choose your brush to draw the mask. I have in this case a brush that is 100% of hardness, and I can regulate everything here. Then I can come here and I can start to draw the mask really just on the antenna that I want to put away. Then I can come here. Here is the destination. On the spot I have the source, and I can just get the source here, and we are okay. I do this, clone stamp, and the antenna is gone. This is really great because it means that for a lot of images where you don't want to do more sophisticated, let's say, corrections, you have no need to use other programs and to go on Photoshop. You can do everything inside CaptureOne. This is one tool. The other tool is the heal layer. The heal layer works as the clone stamp layer, but it works like the healing brush in Photoshop, if you know what I mean. And it's also here, it's pretty easy. We can just enlarge a little bit the image. So let's say I want to get rid of this cable, also if actually I like the fact that there are this cable coming out of the building in this image, but if I want to get rid of this, as usual, I get my draw mask with my brush. I come here, I just draw over the cable. Really, I'm trying to be precise. I come down here and I have the destination, I have the source. Here I move the source around, so if I come here, the source is almost the same, and it's perfect. So the healing layer let me do this kind of corrections. It works pretty well. It's a kind of healing brush, so when you put the content aware or similar, you can see the same effects also here. It's not a very precise tool if you really want to do something complex and elaborated. I mean, if you really want to do retouch in a place where you have very complex pattern, that can be a problem. But to do this kind of simple task, that is what you usually find on your images. I mean, cables, for example, are something that is always there. There's always too many cables around. You can do it straight in CaptureOne 8. Again, here are the layers. Let's say also I talked about the purple fringing before. Here, let's say that I know that on this image, if I go with my loop, I can see that I have these problems of purple fringing here around in the highlights. I don't have the problems here because this was in the center of the lens. This was kind of the border of the lens because it was shifted. The lens is a tilt and shift and was shifted on the side. So here I get this problem. What I want to correct it, but I don't want to put some not need correction on the other areas of the image, because every time you use a tool to correct, it elaborates the image, and sometimes it corrects things that you don't want correct because we're real. So here I can do another layer, adjustment layer in this case, and you see here that you have adjustment, it was clone, and it was heal when you add the other kind of layers. And we can draw just a simple gradient mask because this is what I want to kind of do, something like this. And I can go here and I can go 100%, so I can see how to regulate what I'm doing. I can take off the highlight warning and I can go on until I see this disappear, the artifacts, and this is almost disappeared, and that's perfect. And I know that I correct the image here, I didn't correct the image there. So it's another little tool that helped me to prepare kind of perfect images for the final result, to maintain the quality of the image and don't risk to take away some quality because I have to compromise to solve a problem on one side and interact too much on the side where I didn't have the problem. Basically, this is all. The other tools remain the same, the export and everything, but these little changes really improved CaptureOne from 7 to 8 in a great way. The results are really amazing, and what I say is just go to www.phase1.com and download your trial version, so you can try all these tools by yourself with actually with your images, your camera, and you can see exactly what CaptureOne can do. After you tried it, I'm pretty sure you will buy it, even a new license if you didn't have CaptureOne 7 before, or an upgrade from CaptureOne 7 to CaptureOne 8. In both cases, you can use the coupon code AMBBarbano at the checkout, so you can get 10% discount on the software, both again from the new license or the upgrade. And I think this is all for now, and I will be back soon with more deep tutorials about using CaptureOne in much a deeper way. Thank you for watching.